मंगलाचरण। अखिल रसामृत मूर्ति प्रसृमर रुचिरुद्ध तारका पाली कलित श्यामा ललितो राधा प्रेयान विधुज्जयति। Welcome to today's class. We have discussed till the 43rd verse of the first wave of the first division of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Okay. Discussion is going on about the characteristics of Krishna Bhakti, of Uttama Bhakti, pure Bhakti. We have seen the description of all 6 of these characteristics. Then in 44th verse, Shri Rupa Goswami writes, Agrato vakshyamānāyā stridhā bhaktiranukramāt vishashadbhih padairetan mahatmyam parikirtitam. This bhakti, which will be described in the upcoming sections of this book, its characteristics were already described just now, okay, one after the other. Anukramad, the characteristics of bhakti were described in 3 parts. Okay, what are the 3 parts? Vishah Shadbhi. So, two words. Vishah Shadbhi Padairetan. 2 words each. So total amounting to 6 words. So you make 2 into 2 into 2, 3 groups of 2. So it becomes 6. So with 6 words divided into 3 groups, 2 words in each group, the characteristics of bhakti were described. So Mahatmyam Parikirtitam. In this way, the importance or the glories of Krishna Bhakti, pure Bhakti, were described just before this verse. Let's see the commentaries. Jiva Goswami's Durgama Sangamani Tika, the commentary that makes us understand the difficult parts. Vishodvabhyam dvabhyam shadbhih padai kleshagni ityadibhih parikirtitam iti. So he has 6 words for the 6 qualities of bhakti: kleshagni, shubhada, moksha laghuta krit, and what is that? Rarity, extremely rare to be attained. Forgot the Sanskrit word for that. Sudurlabha, yeah. So kleshagni, shubhada, moksha laghuta krit, sudurlabha, sandrananda visheshatma, Shri Krishna karshini. These are the 6 words he used to describe these 6 characteristics of bhakti. So 2 words in one group. So you have 3 groups. So how do you understand all these classifications? Asadharanat Asadharanatvena iti parishabdartha. The word parikirtitam means asadharanatvena kirtitam. These characteristics of bhakti were glorified in a uncommon way. I would not say uncommon way, where these groups are not mutually inclusive groups. So here he explains further. Tena sadhana rupaya dvau guno bhava rupaya chatvaro guna prema rupaya shadapi jneya tatra tattadantarbhavat dvaivadi bhuta chatushayavat. So sadhana rupa bhakti, the bhakti in the form of sadhana practice, it has 2 characteristics. The first 2 words, kleshagni and shubhada, mention the 2 characteristics of sadhana bhakti, where all of us, most of us are in the stage of sadhana. So we are engaging in Krishna bhakti, but we have not yet attained the state of loving emotions for Krishna. So, in this state, in this level of sadhana bhakti, bhakti destroys all our sufferings, even the sufferings of many, many past lives, it destroys. And it also, even the sufferings of many future lifetimes, it destroys. And bhakti is Shubhada. It bestows all good qualities upon us who are engaging in Krishna Bhakti. Kleshagni Shubhada. Then Bhava Rupayas Chatvaru Guna. The bhakti that is of the form of loving emotions for Krishna, where you experience such feelings for Krishna, that bhakti has four characteristics. The two qualities, the two characteristics that were in the sadhana stage, they continue, of course, in the bhava bhakti stage also. And two additional characteristics bhakti manifests, that is, it minimizes the glory of liberation. It minimizes one's attraction to be liberated from all suffering and birth and death. And it is sudurlabha. It is extremely rare to be attained, this bhava bhakti. So, bhava bhakti has four qualities: destroys all suffering, bestows all good qualities, which are, of course, in the sadhana bhakti, it happens. Bhava bhakti has two additional things: minimizes liberation and extremely rarely attained. Then prema bhakti, bhakti in the form of pure love for Krishna. It has six characteristics: two of sadhana bhakti, four of bhava bhakti, of course, and two additional qualities which bhakti manifests in the stage of its perfected form, that is prema for Krishna. So these are Sandrananda Visheshatma. This prema bhakti is constituted of very compact, loving bliss for Krishna, in relation with Krishna. You experience such immense bliss in that stage, and also prema bhakti attracts Sri Krishna himself to us, to the devotee who has developed that love. So, tatra tattadantar bhavat. The previous levels, the qualities of bhakti manifest in the earlier stages of bhakti are also included in the later stages of bhakti, just as Vaivadi Bhuta Chatushthayavat, just as the four Mahabhutas in this world we have Prithvi, Jal, Agni, and Vayu. These four elements of creation of this world. So, Vayu means air element, has the quality of touch, and the later or more developed form of element is Tejas, is Agni, fire element. Fire element has touch plus color. And then the later element is Jala, water element. It has touch, it has color, it also has taste. It has touch, color, and taste. And then the last element is Prithvi, earth element. It has touch, color, taste, and also smell. So the qualities of the preceding element are included in the later element, but something additional is also present there. In the same way, these three levels of bhakti, stage of sadhana, stage of training, practice, then the stage of bhava, means it is almost perfection. Then the stage of perfection, that is prema, love for Krishna. So, in that order, the characteristics of Krishna Bhakti are manifest. Vishwanath Chakravarti comments here, Agratah iti sadhana bhava prema rupaya stridha bhakte ahead in this book, it will be explained that bhakti has these six characteristics in groups of three. What are those groups? Sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. These three levels of bhakti will be described just in the next sections of the book. Dvisha dvabhyam dvabhyam shadbhif padai. So, two words. So, total 6 words in the groups of 3. They are used to describe the characteristics of bhakti. तथा च क्लेशघ्नेशुभदा इत्यनेन पदद्वयेन साधनभक्तिर्माहात्म्यं कथितम्. The greatness of bhakti in the stage of sadhana practice is described by the words that it destroys all suffering and it bestows all good qualities. Evam, in the same way, similarly, the words moksha laghutakrit and sudurlabha, that bhakti minimizes liberation and it is extremely rarely attained, they are the qualities of bhava bhakti. And similarly, Sandrananda Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Karshini, that bhakti is constituted of a particular compact bliss and it attracts even Sri Krishna. These are the characteristics describing Prema Bhakti. Any questions someone has? Any doubts? Comments? Okay. So let's go to the next verse. Rupa Goswami says, स्वल्पापि रुचिरेव स्याद् भक्तितत्त्वावबोधिका युक्तिस्तु केवला नैव यदस्या अप्रतिष्ठिता. If one has even a little bit of taste, ruchi means likeness. I would not say taste here, it means likeness, fondness, interest. It can be translated into any of these ways depending on the context, which will be clarified in the commentaries. Swalpapi ruchireva syat. Just a small amount of interest, I would say. Just a small amount of interest is bhakti tattvava bodhika. Bhakti tattvava bodhika syat. Makes one capable of understanding the tattva of bhakti, makes one capable to understand and grasp the nature of Krishna bhakti. Yuktistu kevala naiva yadasya apratishthita. However, kevala yukti, just logical understanding, will never help one become fixed in the understanding of Krishna bhakti. So, kevala yukti, simply logic alone, simply logical analysis alone will never help one to become fixed in the understanding of bhakti tattva. But you just need a little amount of genuine interest and sincere interest to understand Krishna bhakti, which will make you eligible for grasping its real nature. So Jiva Goswami comments, Atra bahirmukhan prati anyadapi uchyate ityaha kincheti. Rupa Goswami with the words kincha, furthermore. So kincha, furthermore means this is a different line of thought, different topic he is speaking about. Now he has completed his description of the 6 qualities of Krishna bhakti and he is continuing with something else. So, bahirmukhan prati. So Rupa Goswami speaks this verse addressing the bahirmukhas, those who are disinterested in Krishna, disinterested in bhakti to Krishna. So regarding them, he is speaking this verse. रुचि अत्र भक्तितत्त्वप्रतिपादकशब्देषु श्रीमद्भागवतादिषु प्राचीनसंस्कारेण उत्तमत्वज्ञानं सा एव भक्तितत्त्वमवबोधयति यथा शब्दं श्रद्धापयति इति. Very good explanation given by Jiva Goswami. The word ruchi here, he says, even a little bit of ruchi if you have, you can understand the truth of bhakti, bhakti tattva. What does this word ruchi here mean? The word ruchi here means having the understanding that Srimad Bhagavata and other such shastras which describe the truth of Krishna Bhakti, they are the best praman. They are the highest means of knowing the absolute reality. Uttamatva jnanam. How will you have the conception that Srimad Bhagavata and other such shastras are Srimad Bhagavata and other such shastras that glorify bhakti, that describe Krishna Bhakti in detail, they are the highest praman. How will you have this knowledge? Prachina samskarena. You have this understanding by your earlier samskaras. Samskara means mental impressions which you have received in your earlier births, past lives. So, considering Srimad Bhagavata and other such shastras that glorify and explain the truth of bhakti as the supreme pramanam is called ruchi. Even a little bit of such ruchi if one has, then one becomes enabled by this ruchi to understand the truth of bhakti. What do you mean understand the truth of bhakti? Yatha shabdam shraddhapayati. This ruchi, even little bit if this ruchi if we have, it will cause us to have faith in the words of these shastras. When we have faith in the words of these shastras and believe in these shastras regarding the description of Krishna Bhakti, then we can understand the truth of bhakti. What is required to make us have faith in the words of Srimad Bhagavata and such shastras that describe the truth of bhakti? For that we require ruchi, which is attained by some good association which we had in our past lives. Okay. Prachina samskarena uttamatva. So, by such association with some great Vaishnavas in our past lives, in this present life, we have the knowledge that Srimad Bhagavata and other shastras which describe the truth of bhakti are the highest praman. That is called ruchi. Okay. Anyone has a doubt here? Any comments?
Yeah, what is the meaning of that first line? Atra bahirmukhan pratyayan.
Atra, here in this verse, Rupa Goswami, bahirmukhan prati anyat api uchyate. Okay. Bahirmukhan prati anyat api uchyate. So something is said, it is a karmani prayoga. So something is stated towards bahirmukhas, towards those who are not interested in Krishna and his devotion. Okay.
Yes.
This is directed to them. Okay. So, anyone else has a doubt? Okay. So, next point Jiva Goswami makes is that Kevala Shushka na eva iti kintu tad ruchi sahita ittham eva vakshyate shastre yuktau cha nipuna iti. In this verse, Rupa Goswami also says that Kevala Yukti, logic for its own sake, okay? Logical analysis for its own sake will never enable us to understand the truth of bhakti. So, Jiva Goswami says Kevala Yukti means Shushka Yukti, dry logic. So, dry logic means it is not supported by faith in Krishna Bhakti. You just on the level of the intellect and trying to analyze the statements of the Shastras based on your intellect without any Shraddha, without any sacred inclination, without any inclination towards the Shastras by understanding that these are sacred, these deserve our respect. You don't have any such conception, you don't have any Shraddha, but you are simply analyzing the statements of the Shastras to understand something. You will never be able to grasp the truth of bhakti by that. Shushka yukti will never help. Dry logic does not help. So then Jiva Goswami says that Rupa Goswami in this shloka has said that dry logic will not help one. It means that Ruchi Sahita Yukti will help. That logical analysis which is accompanied with such a Ruchi, Tad Ruchi Sahita, with that understanding that Srimad Bhāgavata, which describes the truth of bhakti, is the highest. When you have that knowledge, when you have that Ruchi, and then you study the Shastras and apply your logical analysis on those Shastras, such logical analysis accompanied by that Ruchi in the Shastras will enable you to understand the truth of bhakti described in those Shastras. This is what Rupa Goswami will also clarify in the verse 1 to 7. Later on in this particular book, he will say, Shastre yuktau cha nipuna. One should be expert in the Shastra and also in yukti, in logical analysis. Both are required. So, Kevala Yukti is discouraged strongly. You should never engage in logical analysis for its own sake. Our logical analysis has to be based on our faith in the Bhakti Shastras. Only then it can help us. So, no comment by Vishwanath Chakravarti. Does anyone have a question here? Very important shloka actually. Rupa Goswami then says, Tatha prachinai api uktam. In the same way, the older devotees, older acharyas have also said what I have said. What did they say? Yatnena paditopyartha kushalairanumatrubhi abhiyuktatarairanyairanyathaevopapadyate. A particular understanding which is established by great effort by expert logicians. That established topic, that established point is refuted by more expert logicians. That point is refuted by logicians who are more expert than the earlier logicians. Okay. And it is something else is established in its place. So logic is never conclusive. That is the main understanding from this shloka. Logic is not conclusive with regards to understanding subject matters that are beyond the scope of this material realm, beyond the scope of our senses, beyond the scope of our intellect and mind. For understanding such topics, logic is insufficient. Okay. So, Jiva Goswami comments, Apratishtatam eva darshayati tathit. So the inconclusive nature of logical analysis just only plain logical analysis without the support of faith is demonstrated in this verse. प्राचीनैः तर्काप्रतिष्ठानात् इति न्यायानुसारिभिर्वार्तिककारादिभिः. So, Rupa Goswami has said the older people, the earlier acharyas have established this. Who are those? So then Jiva Goswami says, those who understand the Brahma Sutra Tarka Pratishthanat. Tarkasya Pratishthan. Logic is always inconclusive with regarding matters of the self, of the absolute reality and such topics. So those who follow this particular understanding, this line of thought, and those who have written various texts, Nyayanusaribhi Vartikakaradibhi. Nyaya means Nyaya Prasthana, Brahma Sutras. According to this particular Brahma Sutra, that logic is inconclusive. Those who follow it and have written various Shastras and Vartikas means verses about this particular topic, they have explained it in this way. Abhiyuktatara tarkikeshu praveen. So, Abhiyuktatarai anyai. Other people who are more qualified logicians than the earlier logicians. They will always be able to refute and establish something else in the place of the point which was established earlier. That is the point. Tarkikeshu praveenitara. No comment by Vishwanath Chakravarti. Does anyone have a doubt or question here? So now we have come to the end of the first chapter, the first wave of the first division of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. इति श्री भक्ति रसामृत सिंधौ पूर्व विभागे सामान्य भक्ति लहरी थमा द्वितीय लहरी साधना भक्ति. Now we begin with the second chapter of the first section of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It is called Sadhana Bhakti. Bhakti in the stage of practice. So then, Rupa Goswami writes here, Sa bhakti sadhanam bhava prema cheti tridhodita.
हमारी कंट्री में रजिस्ट्री के बाद भी प्रॉपर्टी अपनी नहीं होती और ये
Gopal
बात
ji,
आपको
can you
कोई भी
please
ब्रोकर
mute
नहीं
yourself?
बताया, इसलिए अगले 30 से
Sorry, yeah, thank you. Sa bhakti sadhanam bhava prema cheti tridhodita. This bhakti is said to be of three types or three levels, you can say. What are these three levels of bhakti? Sadhanam, bhava, and prema. Bhakti in the stage of practice. Bhakti in the form of experiencing loving feelings for Sri Krishna. And bhakti in the form of pure love for Krishna. Jiva Goswami comments. Sa bhakti riti. आपाततः प्रतीत्यर्थम् एव इदं विवेचनम् विशेषतस्तु इदं ज्ञेयम् भक्तिस्तावद्विविधा साधनरूपा साध्यरूपा च तत्र प्रथमाया लक्षणं भेदाश्च वक्ष्यन्ते द्वितीया तु हार्दरूपा सापि भक्तिशब्देन यथा एकादशे भक्त्या सञ्जातया भक्त्या बिभ्रत्युत्पुलकां तनुमिति अस्याश्च भावप्रेम प्रणय स्नेह रागाख्याः पञ्चभेदाः तथोज्ज्वलनीलमणावस्य परिशिष्टग्रन्थे मानानुराग महाभावाः त्रयश्च सन्ति तदेवमष्टौ तथापि भावप्रेम इति द्विभेदत्वेन उक्तिस्तु उपलक्षणामेर्थ there is some typing or editorial error here. Let me refer to another edition. Sadhana Bhakti. तदेवम् अष्टौ तथापि भावः प्रेमेति द्विभेदत्वेन उक्तिस्तु उपलक्षणार्थम् एव there is a jumbling of various letters here. So, okay, let me go back to the Devanagari. So in this half verse that Rupa Goswami has written, he has said that bhakti is of three kinds: sadhana, bhava, and prema. So Jiva Goswami says Rupa Goswami has written so only in order to make us have some idea of bhakti, just immediate idea, apatatah pratityartham. If he wants to give us an immediate idea of the levels of bhakti, so therefore he has said that bhakti is of these three levels. However, visheshatah, in the particular subject of discussion, idam jneyam, this is what we should know. Bhakti stavad vividha. Bhakti is of two kinds only, two levels: sadhana rupa and sadhya rupa. Of the form of practice, sadhana bhakti, and of the form of sadhya bhakti, bhakti in the state of perfection. Two kinds of bhakti, two levels of bhakti: practicing bhakti and perfected bhakti. So, with regard to these two kinds of bhakti, two levels of bhakti, prathamayah lakshanam bhedascha vakshyante. In this chapter, the characteristics of the first level of bhakti are being said, are being stated in this chapter. And the various types of sadhana bhakti, various types of this sadhana is also being described in this particular chapter. However, the second level of bhakti, sadhya bhakti, it is actually harda rupa. It has to do with the heart. It is done with the heart, done with your emotions. Okay. Feelings are applied in that stage of bhakti, where bhakti is perfected. That bhakti, sadhya bhakti, is also mentioned with the word bhakti. Okay. So sadhana is also bhakti and sadhya is also bhakti. You do not aspire to attain something other than Krishna bhakti through Krishna bhakti. Krishna bhakti will lead to Krishna bhakti in its perfect form, nothing else. Okay. That's what he clarifies here. Yatha Ekadashi, in the 11th skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd chapter, 11th shloka, they said, Bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya bibhrat vitpulakantan. Bhakti leads to the bhakti which makes one experience so much love for Krishna that one manifests various symptoms of love in one's body, like crying tears, body hair standing on its end. It's called horripilation in English. And change of the color of the skin. All these ashta sattvika bhava they are there. We'll see that later on. Various types of involuntary transformations in the body happen when one experiences a great surge of loving feelings for Sri Krishna. So, that loving feelings for Krishna is bhakti, is devotion for him, and that which caused that loving feeling for Krishna is also devotion. So, first it is in the stage of practice, then it becomes perfected. अस्याश्च भाव प्रेम प्रणय स्नेह रागाख्या पंचभेदा. So this sadhya bhakti, so Jiva Goswami clarified, the particular understanding we should have is that bhakti has two levels: bhakti in practice and bhakti in perfection. So in this chapter, bhakti in practice is being described. The second type of bhakti, perfected bhakti, is having the heart as the prominent component. That is also understood with the word bhakti. This second level of bhakti, that is perfected bhakti, has 5 different types or levels, you can say, sub-levels. In the perfected stage of bhakti, there are 5 more sub-levels. The first level of perfected bhakti is bhava bhakti, where one experiences loving feelings for Krishna. Second level is prema bhakti, love for Krishna. Third level of this perfected bhakti is pranaya bhakti. Pranaya means intense obsession, or intense, not obsession, but attachment to Krishna, which is greater than just asakti. That is pranaya. We will see the definitions of all these later on. All these terms have particular definitions. So bhava bhakti, prema bhakti, pranaya bhakti, sneha bhakti, and raga bhakti. These are the 5 sub-levels of perfected bhakti, that is sadhya bhakti. तथा उज्ज्वल नीलमणो अस्य परिशिष्ट ग्रंथे मानानुराग महाभावः त्रयश्च सन्ति. Also, Jiva Goswami comments that also in the book called Ujjvala Neelamani, which is the Parishishta Grantha, which is the additional text of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So we are studying right now Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This is the name of the Grantha, the text. Rupa Goswami has written another text called Ujjvala Neelamani, which is understood as the progression from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So there was some topic not explained in detail in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which he explained in great detail in the Ujjvala Neelamani. So it is the additional text, Parishishta, appended text to the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So in that Ujjvala Neelamani, which is the additional text of this text, Rupa Goswami has also mentioned 3 more levels of Sadhya Bhakti. So we said Sadhya Bhakti in perfection has 5 levels: Bhava, Prema, Pranaya, Sneha, and Raga. And after Raga, there are 3 more stages, sub-levels of perfected Bhakti, which are Mana, Anuraga, and Mahabhav. Okay. These are there. So total there are 8 sub-levels of perfected Bhakti. Tadevam Ashtau. In this way, there are 8 types of perfected Bhakti, 8 levels of Sadhya Bhakti. तथापि भाव प्रेमेति विभेदत्वेन उक्तिस्तु उपलक्षणार्थम एव. Still, Rupa Goswami here in this particular half verse, he has mentioned bhava and prema, the first 2 levels of perfected bhakti only. Okay. Why has he done so? In order to just indicate the other subsequent levels of perfected bhakti. Vibhedatvena ukti. he has just described perfected bhakti of 2 kinds, not of 8 kinds. Why? So by just mentioning these 2, he implies that there are many more. These are just the upalakshanas. Okay. So he has a shloka here. प्रेम एव विलासत्वाद् वैरल्यात् साधकेष्वपि अत्र स्नेहादयो भेदा विविच्य न हि शंसिताः इत्यत्रैव प्रेमलहर्यन्ते वक्ष्यमाणत्वात्. So Jiva Goswami supports this particular understanding which he has stated by Rupa Goswami's own verse which he has written towards the end of the first part of this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. What does he say? What does Rupa Goswami say? In the sadhaka bhaktas, in those devotees who are engaging in the cultivation of Krishna Bhakti and they are currently in the stage of practice, sadhana bhakti. So, for such devotees, prema is very rarely attained. It is a very far off idea. It is very far off idea that a devotee practicing bhakti in this world would attain pure love for Krishna in a very short time. It's not possible. It is very, very, very rare. It is virala. And also because prema is vilas. Prema is the effulgent and very, very rich thing. It is a very, very great thing. It is a very glorious thing. So even for the sadhakas, those who are practicing bhakti, it is extremely rare. Therefore, snehadayo bheda vivichya nahi shamsita. Therefore, Rupa Goswami says that I have not described the various subtypes that follow prema. It is very rare to attain this stage of perfected bhakti, that is prema. What to speak of the subsequent stages of perfected bhakti. Okay, these levels are even rarer and extremely rarer. So I have just mentioned them here, he says, and I have not glorified them. I have not spoken in length about them because it is extremely rare for devotees in this world to attain such stages of love or perfected devotion for Krishna. In one lifetime, it is almost impossible. Yes, any question someone has, any doubt? No question? Okay. So let's go to the next commentary. Vishwanath Chakravarti comments. Just a second. Okay. Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Sa Bhaktiriti अथ अत्र साधन साध्यत्व रूप द्विविध भेद एव अस्तु भावस्यापि साध्य भक्त्यन्तर्भावस्तु किं भेदत्रय करणेन इति चेत् न यतः अग्रे वक्ष्यमाणस्य उत्पन्नरतयः सम्यं नैर्विघ्न्यम् अनुपागताः कृष्ण साक्षात्कृतो योग्याः साधकाः परिकीर्तितः इति साधक भक्त लक्षणस्य मध्ये रत्यपरपर्यायस्य भावस्य आविर्भावेपि सम्यग् नैर्विघ्न्यम् अनुपागताः इति विशेषणेन प्रबलतरस्य कस्यचिन् महदपराधस्य कश्चन भागः अवशिष्टः अस्ति इति लभ्यते। एवं सति क्लेशजनकस्यापराधस्य लेशेऽपि साध्यभक्तिराविर्भावो न सम्भवति। अत एव तत्रैवोक्तस्य साध्यभक्तिविशिष्टसिद्धभक्तलक्षणस्य मध्ये अविज्ञाताखिलक्लेशाः सदा कृष्णाश्रितक्रियाः सिद्धत्वे स्युरित्यनेन तथैव प्रतिपादितम्। Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti has a different understanding than Jiva Goswami, who is the earlier commentator on the text. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti says that if it is said that let there only be two levels of bhakti, bhakti in practice and bhakti in perfected stage, when you consider like this, then so let there be only two levels of bhakti, bhakti in practice, bhakti in perfected stage, and bhava bhakti should be included in the perfected stage of bhakti. What is the need to have three different types of bhakti, three different levels of bhakti? Just have two levels, bhakti in practice, bhakti in the perfected stage, and that's what you have. So he says that no, iti chetna. That is not the right understanding. So he does not agree with Jiva Goswami's explanation given in his commentary above. That is because he gives the reason why he does not agree. Agre Vaksyamanasya. He quotes a particular shloka from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu itself of Rupa Goswami, 2.1.276. उत्पन्न रतयः सम्यक् नैर्विघ्न्यम् अनुपागतः कृष्ण साक्षात् कृतौ योग्यः साधकः परिकीर्तः. So, Rupa Goswami has written this verse, 2.1.226, this verse, in his description of the characteristic of sadhaka devotees, devotees who are still engaging in bhakti in the stage of practice. Okay? And there he says, those devotees of Krishna who have attained rati for Krishna, who have attained loving feeling for Krishna, but have not become completely free of all obstacles to bhakti. There are still some impediments, a few impediments are still present in their practice of Krishna bhakti. Such devotees of Krishna are considered eligible to experience Krishna face to face. Krishna deems these devotees qualified to give them his direct darshan. So, in this description of such devotees, rati apara paryayasya bhavasya avirbhave, those devotees who have attained rati for Krishna. Rati for Krishna is another word for bhava. Rati means bhava. Okay? Bhava means loving feeling, emotion. So, the devotees in this world who have attained loving feeling for Krishna, so even on their attaining loving feelings for Krishna, they are still not free of all the obstacles in their bhajanam, in their devotion to Krishna. So, iti visheshanena प्रबलतरस्य कश्चित् महदपराधस्य कश्चन भागः अवशिष्टः अस्ति इति लभ्यते. So by this description of such devotees that they have attained loving feeling for Krishna, but still they have not become fully devoid of obstacles in their devotion to Krishna. So by this it is understood that some very powerful obstacle is still present in their practice of bhakti. Okay. प्रबलतरस्य कस्यचित् महदपराधस्य कश्चन भागः अवशिष्टः. So this is understood to be mahadaparad. it can be understood as offense to a great Vaishnava, offense to a great devotee of Krishna. So that offense which one might have committed in one's earlier dealings in this world, by his practice of bhakti, he has become almost free of the repercussions of that offense, but not completely free. Kaschana bhaga avashishta asti. Some part of that offense to the great Vaishnava, which is a very strong offense, very powerful offense that you have committed, very grievous offense that one might have committed, some part of that offense is still remaining in that devotee. It is still lingering around and it is obstructing his practice of Krishna Bhakti. Okay? Evam sati. That being so, क्लेशजनकस्यापराधस्य लेशेपि साध्य भक्तिराविर्भावो न संभवति. That being so, on the presence of even a small fraction of this offense which creates suffering in the life of the devotee, the manifestation of perfected bhakti does not happen. Perfected bhakti, sadhya bhakti, does not manifest in the heart of devotee even when a very small part of some offense is hampering his practice. Okay, it is not possible that he can attain the perfected stage of bhakti. Only when this small part of offense is removed, only then will perfected bhakti manifest itself in the heart of this devotee. So, even on having bhava, one might have still some lingering offenses which are obstructing one's practice. Okay. So, therefore, bhava is not the perfected stage of bhakti, as Jiva Goswami has commented in his commentary above. Okay. So, ata eva, therefore, tatraevoktasya sadhya bhakti vishishta siddha bhakti lakshanasya madhye. Also, there itself in that second part of this book, so Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, second part, first chapter, 200th verse, it is said, Avijñāta khila klesha sada krishnashrita kriya siddhatvesi. Those devotees of Krishna who do not have the experience of any suffering in their lives, and all their activities are always dedicated to Sri Krishna, they are perfected in their practice of bhakti. They have attained perfection. Okay? It means avijñāta khila klesha. They do not have any suffering in their lives, do not experience any suffering. Means suffering arising from those lingering offenses. And they are always dedicated to Krishna, surrendered to Him. They are perfect. So in that way, Rupa Goswami himself has explained in that way. Tasma, therefore, bhavasya sadhya bhakti antarbhavo na sambhavati. Therefore, bhava bhakti cannot be included in sadhya bhakti, cannot be included in the perfected stage of bhakti. It is not the perfect stage of bhakti. That's what Vishwanath Chakravarti is clarifying here. Tathaiva. In the same way, sadhana bhakti antarbhavastu sutarameva nasti. Also, bhava bhakti, it is not perfected bhakti. Okay, that is clear now. And of course, bhava bhakti cannot be included in sadhana bhakti, cannot be included in the stage of bhakti in practice. That is very clear. Sutarameva nasti. There is no chance of considering bhava bhakti, experiencing loving feeling for Krishna, as bhakti in the stage of practice. Because yata अत्रैव प्रकरणे साधन भक्ति लक्षणे भाव साधनत्व रूप विशेषणेन भावस्य साधन भक्तित्वं परास्तम. bhavasya bhavasadhanatva bhavat. Why can bhava bhakti, loving feeling for Krishna, why can it not be included in the stage of bhakti in practice? Because here itself, in this very chapter, when we are discussing sadhana bhakti and the characteristic of sadhana bhakti, bhakti in practice, the goal of sadhana bhakti is to attain bhava bhakti. Bhava sadhanatva rupa visheshani. Sadhana bhakti, its very definition is given in the form that bhakti which leads one to attain loving feeling for Krishna. So sadhana bhakti is that which causes one to attain this bhava bhakti. Therefore, bhava bhakti is not in a type of sadhana bhakti is not included in sadhana bhakti because bhava bhakti is the goal of sadhana bhakti. If you say that bhava bhakti is included in sadhana bhakti, then bhava bhakti will be attained by sadhana bhakti. And you say sadhana bhakti is bhava bhakti itself. So bhava bhakti leads to bhava bhakti. That will be incoherent and that will not make any sense. Okay, so bhava bhakti, of course, not sadhana bhakti. It is the aim. It is the purpose of engaging in sadhana bhakti. So, tasmat sadhuktam bhaktis trividhattam iti vivechani. Therefore, one has to understand properly that Rupa Goswami has said it correctly when he says that bhakti is of three types: sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. These are actually different types of bhakti. Three types, not two types. Okay. Very nice explanation and very good and very refreshing to see Vishwanath Chakravarti, who came much later than Jiva Goswami, disagreeing with Jiva Goswami and providing ample support for his explanations, and he was very welcomed, not by everyone. Many those in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, almost like you can say 70% of them welcomed the understanding given by Vishwanath Chakravarti, but some were envious of him. Some did not like what he said. So, yeah, it happens that the tradition undergoes this refinement because the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition had just begun from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Rupa Goswami, then immediately Jiva Goswami came. So, it requires some time for the Siddhanta of the tradition to be systematized, to be properly set. So Vishwanath Chakravarti did that job quite effectively. Any questions?
I am confused, Parasji.
Yes.
Because what did the Pandavas have? Was it Prema Bhakti? Was it Sadhana Bhakti? Was it Bhava Bhakti? I mean, Krishna lived with them in their house for many number of years in their visits and so on. And he rescued them constantly. Yet Yudhishthira complained, Prahalada was so fortunate. We are not as fortunate as Prahalada. We saw this last week or the week before last.
Yes.
Right? So you said when you have perfect bhakti, what is perfect bhakti? Is that when Krishna makes himself known to you? Krishna made himself known to the Pandavas. Didn't they have perfect bhakti?
Of course, they were perfected. They had perfect bhakti, and that's why he blessed them and gave them so much of his time and association.
Then why did Yudhishthira say, we are not as fortunate as Prahalada?
That is the nature of perfected bhakti, Srinivasanji. When you have perfected bhakti, sadhya bhakti, then it creates humility in the practitioner, in you. Okay, you always think that the other devotee is much better than me. That is the nature of devotion. It makes you humble. It makes you think that you are not so great. That is the very substance of devotion to Krishna. if someone says that I am a devotee, like I am a practitioner of devotion to Krishna, and you see in his life that he is exhibiting symptoms of pride, that I am so great, I did this for Krishna, I studied so many shastras, I wrote these many books. If that devotee has some traces, some symptoms of pride, then it shows that he actually does not possess that level of bhakti which he thinks he has. So bhakti, by its very nature, makes the devotee of Krishna very. The devotee thinks that he is very lowly, very unqualified.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Humble. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Parasi.
Thank you. Anyone has any other question? Any doubts, comments? Okay. So let us end our class here for today. We'll begin with the next verse next week, Wednesday.
Thank you, Parasi. Sarvam Sri Krishna.
Thank you, Parasi.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Pranam.
Thank you.
Maharaj.
Namo Namaha. Thank you. Hare Krishna.